Hello everyone and welcome to our final live session of Connection Week 2025. My name is Kate Burgess. I'm the Alumni Relations and Development Manager here at the University of Suffolk. It's really great to see you all here. We've had such a fantastic week with Connection Week this year, seeing and speaking to so many of you, and we're so grateful for all of your support and interest in what we do at the university. We don't just go away after Connection Week, funnily enough. The Alumni Relations and Development team are here to continue to support you, so please do contact us on the alumni email address. We're here all the time. If you have an interest or an idea in some area of the university, or you just want to chat through what your options are, then please do contact us. I'm really lucky to be here today with some of my colleagues from the Institute of Social Justice and Crime and the Legal Advice Centre. We wanted to bring this session to you to discuss all of this area of work across the university, which you may or may not know about, give you a bit of an insight into what's happening at the university here, and answer any questions you may have on it. So please do send the questions in if you want to, or we can get back to you afterwards. It's not a problem. So I'd like to introduce my colleagues. If we can come to you first, Miranda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Kate. My name is Professor Miranda Horvath, and I am Director of the Institute for Social Justice and Crime.
Thank you. Linda?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Cooper. I'm Associate Professor and Deputy Director of the Institute for Social Justice and Crime.
Wonderful. Thank you. Eleanor?
Hello, everyone. I am the Director of the University of Suffolk Legal Advice Centre, and also Senior Lecturer in Law for Contract Law, Family Law and Legal Ethics.
Thank you. It's wonderful to have you all with us today. So thank you for joining in Connection Week. We've spoken a lot recently, haven't we, as a team, really looking at different ways to introduce the work that you do to maybe a different audience, keep our alumni audience in particular updated on everything that's happening in your area. I just wondered if I could come to you, Miranda and Linda, really, if you could give us a bit of a background and an understanding of what the Institute really entails.
Yeah, absolutely. The University of Suffolk has done research on social justice issues for a lot longer than actually our institute has existed in its current form, which is since 2021. And we really take a kind of ambitious and collaborative approach to looking at all kind of topics in relation to social justice and crime. We have specific areas of expertise, which we'll go into at the moment, but I think it's really important that kind of integral to the way we work is kind of collaboration, reaching out into the community, locally, nationally, and really trying to make the world a better place. That sounds cliche, but ultimately, if we want to achieve social justice for everybody, then we need to make the world a better place.
Thank you. That sounds fascinating. And I'm sure there's so much to say. It's very hard to deliver a brief on it, isn't it? It covers so much. And I think for our alumni audience, particularly watching, you really do cover a very broad range of kind of subject areas, interest areas as well, don't you? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Absolutely. Linda, do you want to jump off and then I'll jump in?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I think we cover a really broad range, as Miranda has said, of topics. I think, we are known nationally and internationally for our work on sexual violence particularly. And I think we do an awful lot in that area and we support in that area. Everything from working with victim survivors, service providers, service providers and commissioners. We've recently commissioned a report in Suffolk, which we've had published and has been looking at what is available for victim survivors of sexual abuse in the Suffolk area, mapping what is out there and making recommendations. And, it's garnered a lot of interest, and we've got a meeting coming up, a lunch and learn event where we're going to bring everybody into the room. So we're also getting some impact off the work we're doing as well. That's just one project, amongst an awful lot that we're doing. We do an awful lot of work with policing, and certainly in the area of sexual violence, and that collaborative projects around working with police and understanding what's going on in the arena. And I think we all bring our own specialisms as well. So we've got a number of other topics, particularly education, etc. And I think Miranda will probably want to lead on from that.
I was going to say, we've also, thanks to the work of the brilliant Pro-Vice Chancellor for Research and Knowledge Exchange, Emma Bond, got a long history of work on online harms and abuses, which we're carrying on today. Also, we've been developing expertise around wellbeing and trauma-informed practice. And we're also really lucky in that from the Institute, we host two national research networks, one the DARNet, the Domestic Abuse Research Network, and the other the Violence Against Women and Girls Research Network. So we really have that local, national and international connectivity around the kind of issues that we're working on.
Gosh, there's a lot to it, isn't there?
So that's just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That was this morning, Kate.
And so if anybody had an interest in this particular area of work and wanted to contact you, what would be your kind of advice around that? Would it be to send an email? Would it be to come to maybe one of these events that you're maybe talking about, or a bit of both?
I think I would always, as everybody would say, first of all have a look at our website, because we've got links to a lot of our reports and publications, and you can delve a little bit more into who the team are, because we are the largest institute in the university. So there are 7 of us, and we have broad range of expertise. Absolutely send an email to us. We publicise our events really widely. Most events are open to almost anybody who's interested, so look out for that. I think also there is no such thing as a stupid question. Like, come and ask and we will do what we can. We can't and we don't work on everything, but I think we'll probably come to this more, and I'm mindful that Eleanor hasn't got a chance to say anything yet. But
No,
I think it's also really important to say that we do a lot of research work and knowledge exchange work, but also in order to do that we need funding, and it's a really difficult area because everybody thinks that somebody else is going to fund it, somebody else is going to provide the resources, and a lot of the kind of topics that we're dealing with, although you might hear about them a lot, say in the media, actually resources are quite hard to come by. So we are always looking for sources of funding, and we're really happy to be creative, really happy to come and sing for our supper, as it were. And part of the work that we want to do, and why we're on this call together with Eleanor, is really drawing together the Institute work and the Legal Advice Centre, because there are so many synergies, and we really, I think, do an incredible amount for Suffolk, much more than we're already doing. And we just need kind of the alumni connections as well to really help us with that and help us, make those connections, shout a bit louder about what we're doing, and make that kind of transformative change, which is fundamental to all of our work.
Fantastic, thank you. And it seems like an excellent time to bring Eleanor into the conversation, doesn't it? Eleanor, can you tell us just a little bit about the Legal Advice Centre? And that would be good to have a kind of discussion about how the two work together.
Yep, sure. So we established the Law Clinic at the university about 3 years ago now. And I suppose I would definitely echo what Miranda had said, really, in that the motivation for it is ultimately to make the world a better place. And of course, that does sound cliche, but it's a genuine motivation and ambition. And we've got to the point now that we're giving advice to 100 clients a year. So we've done quite a lot in a really short space of time. So I'll just explain a bit more about what it is that we do. So we give advice in 2 areas at the moment, in family law and advice to small businesses and startups. Originally, the businesses side really was relating to startups, but we've seen a massive need for free legal advice for small businesses as well, because there is no legal aid really in this country. I mean, it does exist in places, but quite often you have to contribute to it, or you're simply not eligible. And giving advice to businesses isn't really an area that's typically seen as one of social justice, but the more we do it, the more we see that it is actually, it's very much aligned to those principles. But I just want also, I should really make clear, is that the reason it's a university law clinic is because the students are at the centre of the delivery of legal advice. And so it's great for them because they're learning on the job, I suppose, whilst doing this, they're studying their sort of traditional academic study, they're getting this chance to do it in practice as well. But of course, they need to be supervised. So my background is in criminal law, hence probably wanting to make the world a better place. So I defended for many years. I did prosecute as well for a bit. But either way, so I run it. But of course, we need to have pro bono solicitors who are experts in that particular field. So we have family lawyers that help supervise our family law advice. And then we have a number of commercial solicitors that help in the business side. But I guess our main partnership is with Burkitt's, who supervise that kind of startups clinic. So that's kind of the background to the law clinic. It's been going about 3 years. We've grown to delivering advice to 100 clients a year. And at the moment, we're sort of focusing on 2 areas of law. But yeah, we really want to align ourselves more closely with the Institute. Number one, because Linda and Miranda are very inspirational, energetic, and would be really fun to work with, of course. But, from a practical view, it's teamwork that ultimately makes the biggest change. I mean, there's been a lot of research into that, hasn't there, and into our synapses and so on. But irrelevant to that, the fact is that teams working together do produce the best results rather than individuals. So it's kind of recognising that, really, that if our institutes work or our centres work together, that would be really beneficial to everybody.
Yeah, and you've shared so much about the different areas of expertise you all have and across your whole teams, which is just really exciting, isn't it, to have such a varied amount of experience within the team. But it also sounds like, Eleanor, you very much need to be working with external organisations as well, and bringing those experiences from others into the university, into the students. Yeah,
I mean, I think because the way we see our law clinic expanding is really by establishing a social law policy clinic. So that's basically where we can carry out our own research, which is informed by the cases that we see frequently coming before us. So if I think, let's talk about business for 1 second. So in terms of business, I would say the biggest area which is coming over and over again is franchises. There's very little legal protection for franchisees. Really, you're looking at contract law. And the problem is that if you're there as a franchisee, you're now a business owner rather than a consumer. So there's less protection immediately. And I think, somebody that may be attracted to a franchise is probably someone that wants to start their own business, but thinks that might be a way of dipping their toe in the water, but don't really appreciate that actually you can end up with quite an onerous contract in terms that you can't really kind of extract yourself from or get out of. So that's just one example, really. And I think Miranda and Linda have that really great experience, as we've heard, internationally in research. So that it would hugely benefit the law clinic, really, if we can establish that sort of research centre ourselves for the issues that we see coming in from a legal point of view. That's kind of the area we see ourselves expanding to. But obviously, we will always need outside help for this. So in terms of our alumni, how they might want to get involved, of course, one of the options, if they are lawyers or training, they might have recently graduated, and we're in touch with many of those recent graduates still. But, it'd be great if they could volunteer their time to help supervise the students. And then for those non-lawyers, maybe they have started out their own business, or they're at the beginning stages, or they're in the middle of it and they're quite experienced. Maybe they can come and speak to our students and talk about the legal issues that they faced. That would be really beneficial as well. So there's lots that can be done, and lots of ways in which they can contribute, for sure.
Fantastic. So anybody that's interested in getting involved in that side of work, I think you can contact us on the alumni email address, of course, and we will speak to our wonderful colleagues here. You can contact the Institute or the Law Centre directly as well. I think, like you say, it's just about starting a conversation sometimes and seeing where your experience and skills fit in with us. So please do be open to having those conversations, because I think it benefits everybody, really. And it's really nice to hear you talk about how our alumni could get involved, because it's about some people just want to give back to the university, and that very much can be done through your time, and often done directly with students. And I think that's it's so beneficial. It's so inspiring for those students to see people that are already in work and making their own way in the world, and just understanding the different employment opportunities that are out there and the skills they might need to develop while still at uni, etc. So thank you for that. What about you, Miranda and Linda? How would you maybe see alumni being involved in the work that you're doing?
I mean, I think I know, because we're in touch with some of these people, but there are many courses at the university, social work, psychology, which very typically would play into social justice issues. But equally, law, business, I mean, social justice encompasses everything, really.
Yeah.
So I think it's for people to think about, and really, you know, we are very passionate, and that's why we get out of bed and do this job. So we want to hear from you about what your passions are, and you might be working in an area where you might not have funds, but you might have access to some incredible data that maybe your organisation or you don't have time to to process or do some more analysis. We could help with that. It might be that you've got opportunities for students to get work experience, to develop their networks and opportunities, because typically, particularly if we're looking at our work around sensitive issues, around crime, things like that, it can be very difficult for students to actually get some real world experience. And I imagine some of the people listening to this or watching this will have access to that. And then I think it's as well really thinking about how we can be advocates for the people of Suffolk as well as our students. So to reach out to us with here's a topic, here's an overlooked area, here's somewhere that actually I might have an entry into, say, a discussion group or something that we don't know about yet. So it might be that you could facilitate that, which would then benefit, you know, everyone involved. So, Linda, I don't know if there's anything else I've missed.
No, I mean, I think that's a great overview. I think as well, we also have lots of conversations with students at different levels of study that maybe want to go on. Yeah. And again, we're very happy to have those discussions if they're social justice topics where maybe we can offer support. And as we say, we're here to listen and to offer advice. We always say we're an open door. Come and have a cuppa with us. We're in Waterfront Building and 124. Do get in contact if you wanted to just talk through an idea. And we are very collaborative across the university as well, as Miranda has said, in other teams. So, for instance, we're speaking with a teaching colleague who's working on a project with local people that very much sort of taps into Eleanor's world as well. So, you know, those collaborations, like we've got a great collaboration with Eleanor, you know, we love that connection. But what we're trying to do is grow that and see how we can support people more as well. So, but in terms of alumni, events, come to our events. We do an awful lot of conferences and one-day events as well that are open. And we're open to ideas as well. If you've got a great idea that you want to do something, come and talk to us. We'd be more than happy to see if we can help or we'll certainly listen, but see if we can actually put something into action.
So it's a really open book, really. You're just willing to talk to anybody from any of those areas you've discussed, and probably wider as well, because it is just so wide, isn't it? That it covers so many jobs, roles, and organisations that people work for. So please do get in touch with the team. Like Linda said, just for a chat, if you want to have a chat. But I think our events are really fantastic networking events. They are really a great opportunity to come ask questions, listen to what we've got to say. People attend events for various different reasons. And I really would suggest that people just come along to one of them and see what we've got to offer. So you did mention some events you've got coming up, Linda, right at the start. Is there anything more you want to say on them, or just to reiterate them?
Well, the one I mentioned at the start is actually a closed event for people that took part in our research. So it was just an example of how what we do goes on to sort of create wider discussions. But we've always got a number of events coming up, and we're collaborating. I've gone blank in terms of what ones. I know we've got lots of events coming up.
Don't worry. No, that's not a problem. I think sometimes we've got so much going on that it's very hard to bring up. But I think we've discussed as a group, haven't we, about different opportunities that we could make available, maybe specifically to alumni, to bring people back so they are talking to each other and understanding the different areas that people are working in. around really creating that kind of community of contacts, really, for people to share their experience and skills. So watch this space for things coming up with this institute and the Legal Advice Centre, because we're excited to come together really and work together on how we can bring people together. So there's a lot coming up, which is very, very exciting.
Definitely.
Is there anything else anybody would like to discuss?
I was just going to flag that if people are particularly interested in work around domestic abuse or violence against women and girls, please do sign up to those networks. They both have web pages on the university website. So that's the Domestic Abuse Research Network and the Violence Against Women and Girls Research Network. So the Institute supports them, but they have events and activities, as I said, nationally as well. So there's lots of opportunity and newsletters and things like that to get involved from that perspective.
Wonderful, thank you. We'll send all of those links in with the comments on the various different feeds we've got on this live. So we will make sure people get those information. We also, remember, we send out communications to our alumni community once per month now. And these are the sorts of things that will be included in those newsletters, that we will be sharing links to, yes, events you can come into, but different groups you can join, different conversation areas. So please do keep an eye on to all of those opportunities that are available to all of our alumni. Like we said, wherever you're working, interested areas, whatever you're interested in, really. And I think it's just important to share that, you know, this is a community of people. We are a community at the University of Suffolk. It's fantastic to see how the Legal Advice Centre is working alongside the Institute for Social Justice and Crime and all the amazing work that's coming out. You have shared a lot of your research recently that I've seen as well, which I'm really enjoying reading about, and I hope everyone is too. So we will be sharing that as well. But thank you to you all for being involved today. I really appreciate it. We're going to do more things like this as we go along and be sharing information. So this is definitely not your last chance. But thank you very much. Again, contact the Alumni Relations and Development team at any point. We're here to share information with you and get you involved in everything. But just a huge thank you to all of you for being involved today. I really appreciate it. And we will be in touch very soon. So thank you for enjoying Connection Week 2025, and we will see you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.